everybody, it's Mr. Martin here, and I have a new book of the week, Mrs. Armitage on Wheels, and I wanted to read it to you. We have been doing lots of bike riding today at school, and I think we might be riding our bikes over the weekend as well, just like Mrs. Armitage. Mrs. Armitage was out on her bicycle. Breakspear the dog ran alongside her. A hedgehog walked out across the road. Tring, tring, went Mrs. Armitage on the bell. What this bike needs, she said to Mrs. Armitage to herself, is a really loud horn. Mrs. Armitage bought three horns. They were all very loud. The first one went beep, beep. The second one went honk, honk. The third one went bah-ha-ha. Went Mrs. Armitage on her horns. They were very loud. Then the chain came off. By the time Mrs. Armitage had got it on again, her hands were all black and greasy. Can you see? Oh dear. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is somewhere to wash your hands. So she got a bucket of water and a towel and a soap rack with a bar of soap, and she hung them all onto the bike, and off she went with beautifully clean hands. Very clever. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself as she cycled along, if it's to be looked after properly, is a complete toolkit. That looks very heavy. So she got a toolbox with spanners and screwdrivers and hammers and cans of oil, and she fixed it onto the back of the bicycle, and off she went. Wow, look at that bike now. Horns, the toolkit, even Breakspear is helping. By now, Mrs. Armitage was beginning to think about food. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is somewhere to carry a light snack. So she got a tray of apples and bananas and cheese and tomato sandwiches and a holder for a bottle of lemonade and a flask of hot chocolate and a special basket for bones and dog biscuits for Breakspear, and she fixed them all to the bike, and off they went. But by now, poor Breakspear was feeling quite tired. Running along beside the bicycle, you could tell because his tongue was hanging out and he was panting, just like this. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is something for a faithful dog to ride on. So she got some iron brackets and some nuts and bolts and some cushions, and she made a seat for Breakspear, and off they went. Wow. They had stopped beside the road for some sandwiches and dog biscuits when it began to rain. Great heavens, said Mrs. Armitage. What this bike needs, Breakspear, is something to keep the rain off. So she got 2 umbrellas, one large one and one small, and she fixed them up onto the bicycle, and off they went. Wowzers. Riding through the rain, Mrs. Armitage began to feel rather downhearted. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is a bit of cheerful music. So she got a transistor radio, a cassette player, and a lot of cassettes of cheerful music, and a mouth organ so that she could join in. And she fixed them all to the bike, and off they went. These things look very heavy. Mrs. Armitage was turning the pedals so fast and blowing the mouth organ so hard that soon she was nearly exhausted. What this bike needs, said Mrs. Armitage to herself, is a bit of extra oomph. So she got some wood, and she got some ropes and some tarpaulin, and she rigged up a mast and a sail, and she added a few yards of bunting and an anchor, has she made? Wowzers. And off they went with the wind behind them. Faster and faster and faster until... I wonder what's going to happen. Look at Breakspear. That anchor. Oh no. Uh-oh. Crash, crunch, clang, clatter, thud. Bah! The anchor caught a tree. Oh no, look at the bike. Oh dear. Look at it now. What this bike needs, Breakspear, said Mrs Armitage, as she picked herself from the wreckage, is taking to the tip. And what I need is... Whoopee! She's got rollerblades. But what these roller skates need, said Mrs Armitage to herself, what these roller skates need is... I wonder what she's going to do to those rollerblades. I think I would put some brakes on. What would you do? I'm going to have a go at drawing what I would do to these rollerblades to make them better. You could do that as well. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed my story of the week, Mrs Armitage on Wheels. Have a good weekend. Bye.